It comes down to this. If you want to be an interesting, intriguing, magnetic woman that is drawn to herself and other people are drawn to, you need to have hobbies. Hello and welcome to the Curated Feminine. My name is Bethany, and here at the Curated Feminine, I help women to connect with the best version of themselves to become the woman on their vision board. And we do this through psychology, inner work, and through feminine energy. Today, we're going to be talking about why you need hobbies. And you truly do. If you are currently waking up every morning and going through exactly the same routine every day, if your hobby, if your free time is spent doom scrolling, we got to fix that. Not because you need to be perfect, not because you're aiming to be something that you're not, but because when you're truly living authentically, when you're truly happy with your own life, you have hobbies that align with your dreams, your desires, your vision, and with your personality and your inner child. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is how to find that, how to use that. So let's talk about why you need to have hobbies in the first place. So I speak about feminine energy a lot in this channel, obviously, right? Thus the curated feminine. And if you want to have a really good balance and you find that you are constantly in your masculine energy, you are switched on all the time, you are extremely action oriented, and you struggle really taking time to relax and rest, then that means you're in like a masculine overdrive state. And pulling yourself into feminine energy can be done through hobbies, right? So, yes, there's inner work. Yes, there's developing a deep understanding of yourself and of others. There's all of that. But an easy way to tweak the way that you're living day to day, an easy way to switch on your feminine energy is to get a hobby or two. And this is because it helps you to go from just production mode to pleasure and enjoyment. And pleasure and enjoyment are a cornerstone of feminine energy. Right? A woman who's high in feminine energy knows how to flow instead of go all the time. She knows how to be more present. She knows how to be more joyful. And hobbies help you to do all of these things. Hobbies also make you more magnetic. And again, we talk about authenticity here on this channel. So I'm not suggesting that you take up hobbies to please somebody else. You do it first and foremost for yourself. But a side benefit, if you will, is that you become more magnetic and interesting. If you've ever been at a networking event and you're speaking to somebody else and they start talking about, like, oh, what do you do outside of work? What do you do that makes you happy? One of those questions, and you go, I watch Netflix. You're going to feel awkward because it's like, how far that can that conversation go? Maybe you'll be able to speak about a couple of shows and that's it. And you are more interesting than a show that you're watching. So whilst love Netflix, love watching TV shows. My husband and I are watching Reacher right now. It's brilliant, by the way. That is a masculine man if you've ever seen one. If you have only that, if the only thing that you tend to do is like scrolling or looking at memes or watching Netflix, it takes away from some of your magnetism. A magnetic woman is taking pleasure in her own life, right? And you do it, again, first and foremost for yourself. But it's intriguing to other people when you're truly enjoying your own life. They're like, what is she doing that she enjoys so much, right? So picking up a hobby helps with that drastically. It gives people a talking point. Like, oh, do you remember Bethany? She's that one that really loves psychology. She told me about this book. Have you heard of that? Right? It gives them a talking point about you. Do you remember Marilyn? She has been cooking the most amazing things, and she started baking recently. She made the most amazing macarons. It was fascinating. I asked for the recipe, right? These make you more intriguing and more magnetic. And it's not just because it's a talking point. It's because, again, you are more present in your own life. You're more interested in your own life. And a key cornerstone of magnetism is having a really rich inner world, is really taking pleasure in your own thoughts and your own company. And having a hobby allows you to do that so much more easily. Now, they also rewire your brain for happiness. So if you've ever been in burnout mode, and God knows I have, if you've ever been truly burnt out, you'll notice that you stop taking pleasure in life, right? Like, not in a really deep, dark sort of way, but just in like everything just seems kind of meh. Everything seems blah. That's a sign of burnout, when everything seems just not interesting the way that it used to be, because your brain is just overstimulated. It's tired. When you have a hobby, you're actually rewiring your brain for happiness. So you're like, okay, I'm going to switch off of work and I'm going to go do that thing that I love, whether it's crocheting, whether it's this sport, whatever it is. I'm going to go through suggestions in different categories later for you, by the way, so you can pick a hobby that aligns with you. But they rewire your brain for happiness. Instead of thinking, oh, I've got the drudgery of another day of doing exactly the same thing, all for other people, right? I watch Netflix and Netflix makes money. I work and my boss makes money, right? Instead of feeling like that, you're going to feel like, okay, I'm going to do these things that need to be done, right? These are my duties for the day. And then I'm going to do something that I find fun, like a sport that keeps me in shape, but I also really enjoy that aligns with the things that I value. So they rewire your brain for happiness. And then lastly, hobbies just help you to regulate stress, right? Doom scrolling actually increases your stress levels because when you're scrolling, your brain is looking for a dopamine hit that's like not quite coming. It's just not. Even if, let's say, you are a content creator like myself and you have a video that does really well, you'll get this initial dopamine hit of like all the likes and comments, and eventually your brain gets bored of it because nothing's actually happening. Nothing's actually happening. It's just feedback from online, right? From amazing people that have taken the time to engage with you, but there's not an actual human to human connection. And so your brain will start to switch off how exciting that finds it. So it increases your stress because it's looking for a hit that's never coming. Whereas when you have a hobby, it regulates your stress, especially if it's something like sports that gets your heart rate up, or something quote unquote mindless because your body knows how to do it, but that you enjoy, like crocheting, right? It's relaxing, same repetitive motion, piano. And again, we'll go through some suggestions in a second. Now, in terms of the psychology of habits, right? So from a psychological standpoint, hobbies tap into different areas of our brain that are neglected in day-to-day life. So it puts you into flow state. So if you are like, when I'm creating YouTube videos, I go into flow state. Like, you'd have to kind of snap your fingers in front of me to get me to pay attention because I'm so all in with what I'm doing. Same thing with reading. There are certain activities that you really enjoy that put you into flow state. And this taps into a place in your brain that you're not experiencing day to day. So flow state is this kind of psychological nirvana where it's like time doesn't exist. You are so hyper focused on what you're doing that you look up and realize, oh my God, 2 hours have passed and I had no idea. Flow state is so good for us psychologically. It's one of the highest forms of happiness. Very, very good for us psychologically. Another is that it's actually inner child healing. So I do coaching with women one-to-one and through programs. And one of the exercises that we do is inner child healing, where we can get you into a meditative state and you are feeling it. Is my microphone still on? Yes, it is. I just had to get a new microphone. And this one's not very charged. I hope it lasts. So it's when we're doing inner child healing, what happens is we are getting you to feel into where in your body you felt a particular pain, right? In your chest, in your mind, like in your head, wherever it is. We're getting you to meditatively tap into the place in your past that you first experienced that, and then heal that particular moment in time, right? It's like magic. I love doing this with my clients and teaching them how to do it on themselves. But hobbies can help you do a lighter form of inner child healing. So a lot of us abandon our childhood passions to go like adult, right? We abandon the things that we love because we have to be responsible. And this is especially true if you are an eldest daughter, or if you had to grow up faster than maybe we would typically think of as normal. It means that you probably abandon a lot of your childhood hobbies because you had to get stuff done. And so returning to your childhood hobbies, or hobbies that connect with things that you enjoyed in your childhood, these help you to reconnect to playfulness and joy. And this is very healing for the inner girl inside. Hobbies also help you with identity expansion. So if you are a mother, for example, a lot of mothers get caught up in being a mama. They're like, I am a mother and I do things for my children, and that is what I do. And whilst that's beautiful and seems altruistic, it actually leads to bitterness and frustration. You end up feeling like you've lost a huge part of yourself if you do this. So hobbies help with identity expansion. Same thing if you are super career oriented. You might get to a state where you're just like, I am a lawyer and this is what I do. I am a sales executive and this is what I do, right? And hobbies help you to really expand your identity. It's like, I am this and also this. I am intellectual at work and I am playful outside of work because I do A, B, and C. So hobbies help you to really expand your identity and gets you to tap into different facets of yourself. And again, if we're talking about magnetism, it is intriguing when you are paradoxical. It is interesting when you're a bit of a paradox, right? If you are super intellectual at work, let's say you're a woman of science, you're in the scientific field, and you come home and you like to do something really creative, like cooking or baking or painting, that's a bit paradoxical, which is very magnetic to people. They go, ooh, I wouldn't have expected you to do that. This is interesting. And it leaves a mark in their memory. So you become more memorable and fascinating when you have a hobby that really expands your overall identity. Right, so let's go through some hobbies in different categories. So your mind, your body, and your soul is how I tend to categorize everything in life, right? From your morning routine to making sure you get kind of soul fulfillment throughout the day. You want to do something for your mind, body, and soul. So we can categorize hobbits. We can categorize hobbies in that way too. So mind expanding hobbies. So for intellectual pursuits, creativity, mental stimulation, that looks like writing. If you like writing books, my daughter loves to do this. She's 11. She's an amazing writer. Or journaling can be very important. Dita Von Teese, who I just find so interesting. She's so glamorous and fascinating. She actually has these beautiful leather-bound journals, and she keeps them all. She's done them her entire life. So she's made journaling a hobby, not just like a quick little scribble every morning or every night, but she journals about her life, and it's interesting because you can really see your own character expansion over the years this way. Poetry is another one. Learning a new language like French, Italian, something seductive, something interesting. Why not? This also, by the way, if you learn other languages, you actually think more broadly because you have more words for different things. This is why in some cultures they have multiple names for different shades of blue, for example, and so they can actually see those colors better than people that don't have names for those things. So learning a new language actually expands you intellectually so much, depending on how you choose to utilize it. Learning about psychology or philosophy, that can be really good. Chess or strategy games are also mind expansion, right? A sharp mind is a sexy mind. My husband's been trying to teach me chess for years, and I'm actually at the point where I think I might just try to find like an online version of chess so it can teach me the rules, because I can never win because I always forget the rules. Anyway, but chess is a mind expanding activity. Body-based hobbies for sensuality, for embodiment, for overall health as well. That can look like tennis or some kind of sport, right? Volleyball, pickleball. You can go and do that as a hobby with friends or a family. You can make friends through these hobbies too if you join a club. You can do dance. You could do like something burlesque or salsa or tango, something fun that includes sensual movement. Horseback riding. You can do yoga or Pilates. I do Pilates every Saturday morning. I go for a walk with a girlfriend afterwards, and that's good for my body and my soul. I love it. You could do something like aerial silks or pole dancing. You can do perfume making, right? This is good for the soul, but also good for the body because it engages your senses, which is a really powerful form of feminine allure and also a great way to ignite memories. There's currently a trend going around where you smell your perfume that you wore as a teenager, and the reactions are priceless because scent so deeply connects us to our memories. It unlocks memories in a way that most things do not, that the other senses do not. Soul nourishing activities. This is for pleasure, for connection, for deep fulfillment. So we've got like gardening. You can do gardening. You can plant different herbs. You can do something romantic like planting roses, or you can do something like planting vegetables to ensure that you're looking after your body, your family's bodies, right? You can do painting or pottery, using something to create beauty with your hands. And this is fun because then you can start to organize things around it, like, oh, I'd love to go stay at that beautiful place with that view of the landscape so I can paint, right? That's interesting, and that's good for the soul. You can do something like wine tasting could be a hobby of yours, right? Good for the soul because it connects you to your senses. Also kind of a physical hobby too, right? You can do hosting like feminine centric gatherings like a book club or a dinner party where you like to bring the glam. I've got a girlfriend, my best friend actually, is amazing at events planning. She loves to do this. So hosting something like that would be really fun. You can do volunteering for different causes, for women's causes especially, or whatever cause is really close to your heart, children's causes, whatever it is. So here's how to actually pick the perfect hobby for you. So first of all, if any of those stood out to you, write them down. Think about it. See where there's clubs nearby or how easy it would be to implement. Like if you need something that's inexpensive and you are quite an intellectual person that loves philosophy, great. Your hobby is now learning about philosophy. Go to the library, get a cup of tea, make it aesthetic, and learn, right? So there's that. It's just what actually called out to you and how easy it is to implement. But also, what did you love doing as a child? What did you truly enjoy? What did you find fascinating? Like for me, I loved dress up. My youngest daughter does this, but my older two daughters don't. I've got three. So it truly is something that not every child likes to do. I loved high heels. I loved beauty and aesthetics. I loved makeup. So the fact that I'm a feminine energy coach and this started as a hobby and now it's a full-blown business is no surprise. I loved doing it as a child, something feminine, intriguing, connecting with the senses. What excites you when you hear people talk about it? Like if somebody brings it up in conversation, all of a sudden you're off, like you can't stop talking about it. What helps you to feel really fulfilled? Other questions you can ask is, what do you see in your space the most often? That can often lead you to what you really value and therefore what would align with your hobbies, right? If you always have fresh flowers, could it be that flower arranging could be something that you enjoy? If you always have makeup, could it be that starting to do makeup tutorials or even making your own makeup brand, whatever it is, that could be something really interesting. If you always have pens and paper, maybe calligraphy could be something interesting for you, right? So what's in your space the most often? And lastly, what makes you light up? Like when you do this thing and you really sit down and think about it, you're like, wow, I enjoy doing that thing so much. That's another sign that it's a hobby that you can pick up. So in conclusion, hobbies aren't just about doing something for the sake of it. They're about being yourself. They're about helping you to be more present, more connected to yourself, entering into flow state, feeling more magnetic and intriguing and confident. Right? Competence brings confidence. So if you're really competent in something because you practice it all the time because you're a hobby, it will increase your level of confidence overall. Magic. So make sure that you pick up a hobby that you love. Make sure that you pick up a hobby that you enjoy. Leave it in the comments which hobby you chose to take up or which one you're already doing. And by the way, if you want to connect to other women, if one of your hobbies is psychology and self-development and you want to connect with other women that have similar tastes and form deep, valuable friendships and expand your mind, the Curated Collective is probably for you. You can message me on Instagram to find out more about it. It's currently $55 per month and it includes monthly trainings plus weekly Q&A where you get coaching back and forth from me and also other women in the group. So if that interests you, make sure you message me on Instagram and we can make it happen. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.